Defection season rumbles on as parties get set for the push for the 2023 general elections. The People's Democratic Party in crisis talks to batten down the hatches as gale of cross-carpeting and resignations continue. The All Progressives Congress lodged judgment defining the legality of its caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee. As the political parties gear up for the off-cycle elections and then the general elections, what should be done to strengthen the electoral bodies and better sanitize the processes? We'll have a discussion on that on the program. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje of Kano State says Nigeria cannot afford another civil war. He made his comments at a public lecture in Abuja.
Sustaining Nigeria's unity and galvanizing efforts to inculcate values for national development dominated discussions at this forum, where it was agreed that Nigeria had experienced moments that truly define it as a symbol of unity in the continent. Speaking on the topic, sustaining a united and indivisible Nigeria, a myth or reality, Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje said, there is hope for sustaining the unity of Nigeria, as there is no challenge the political class cannot address, as Nigeria is matured enough to correct its mistakes as part of the development processes.
All right-thinking citizens, irrespective of their tribal and religious inclinations, should bond together to sustain the corporate existence of the most populous and naturally endowed nation in Africa, that is Nigeria. We must shun temptations and anger capable of leading us into more turbulent time.
So any reasonable person who witnessed the Nigerian Biafra war will never preach anything near to war. You won't wish your enemy to go through that. So for those who are not born then, who take delight in pronouncing war, it's not African magic. The thing you stay back and watch.
So there must be this kind of love. Because let me tell you, all the governors are friends. All the ministers are friends. You need to see us drink coffee in Hilton. You know that there's no divisional number.
Discussants were unanimous that advocates of secession should have a change of heart and embrace dialogue as a crucial option for addressing their problems, and called for a collective zeal in the project of diversifying the economy, managing out of school children, and rebuilding the tertiary institutions to boost knowledge development for 21st century challenges. Chairman APC Press Corps, Jide Oretunsin, said the second quarterly public lecture is aimed at adding value to the debate of national unity.
Now, the All Progressives Congress Governors Forum has commended the Supreme Court for the judgment which, amongst others, has provided clarity on the legality of the APC caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee, its composition and all its decisions.
The APC governors, in a statement by its chairman and governor of Kebbi State, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, said the judgment has also settled the legality of the Governor Maimala Buni-led National Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee. The governors congratulated all Nigerians, in particular APC members and supporters across the country, especially President Muhammadu Buhari, whose zeal is to bequeath a democratic party built bottom-up for the benefit of Nigerians. Similarly, the All Progressives Congress has reminded its members who have sued the party to withdraw their cases and use the mechanism of reconciliation to address their grievances. Professor Tahiru Mamma, a member of the party's caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee, gave the reminder at a media briefing where he reaffirmed the legality of the APC caretaker committee as a result of the Supreme Court's judgment.
The Nigeria Supreme Court, in its judgment, affirmed the legality of the caretaker's extraordinary convention planning committee. This court stated that the NEC, National Executive Committee of the APC, under Article 13.3.4 of the APC Constitution, has power to create, elect, and appoint a committee and endow it with powers and functions. It even went ahead to draw a parallel with Article 3.3 sub 3 of PDP Constitution 2012, which gave similar powers to its National Convention, which in turn appointed a National Caretaker Committee in 2016, which the Supreme Court ruled to be legal. This case is Sheriff versus PDP.
He advised party faithful to focus on all upcoming congresses, ensure unity and harmony in the party.
This week, a member of the PDP Board of Trustees, Senator Joy Emodi, defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Emodi's defection increases the number of top party stalwarts of the People's Democratic Party to change logos and allegiances in the past few months.
The chairman APC Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee and Yobe State Governor Maimala Buni received the decampees in Abuja. The former lawmaker, Joy Emodi, said she's convinced that the future of a prosperous and united Nigeria lies in the APC and described the party's leadership as sincere and genuinely committed to a united Nigeria that has plans for the future generation. The former legislator assured the party of her loyalty and her support to the party in view of the APC-led federal government that is working for the Southeast, the zone she represents. The chairman APC Caretaker Committee, Maimala Buni, expressed delight with the decision taken by the PDP board member to contribute to the unity of the country through the APC and described the Southeast as a strong political bloc and very crucial to the unity of the country. Similarly, the former PDP Zonal Secretary and former member PDP Presidential Campaign Organization, Oke Ezenwa, said he has joined the APC because of his love for a future for the country. The decampees commended the Buni-led Caretaker Committee for making the party attractive and opening up for others with genuine interest on national unity to join the APC.
Activities in the different political parties are beginning to gather momentum as the first off-cycle elections, which will herald the dawning of the 2023 general elections, draw closer. Now, stakeholders in the political space, keen watchers of the nation's democracy, and the umpire all seem to agree that there must be a general resolve by the players not to weaken or sabotage the nation's electoral processes. Member House Committee on Electoral Matters, Honorable Sam Onuigbo, joins us today. Now, Honorable Onuigbo represents Sekwano, Umuahia North and Umuahia South Federal Constituency, and in the House of Representatives, he served also in the Joint Committee of the National Assembly on Electoral Reforms. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's start like this. You know, when you got the brief to recommend laws to strengthen our electoral processes, which were the areas of priority?
Well, thank you very much, Fisayo, and good afternoon, viewers. The basic thing about electoral laws is to ensure that you have an institution that administers or conducts the election in a fair, credible, and transparent manner. That's the basic thing. So when we are asked to look at it and look at those critical areas to effect amendments, the focal thing you work on, what were the challenges that came out of previous elections that needed to be addressed? And some of them were perhaps the courts had attempted to address them. So they were not one, there were several areas. But the aim is get an institution like INEC that is constitutionally backed. It's not just a creation of the Act of the National Assembly. If you go to Section 153, you see that it's clearly provided for. That get the INEC to really be strengthened. Because one thing is clear, a critical institution like INEC is what guarantees or crumbles a democratic process. Because it is an institution where people go, in line with those provisions that early thinkers like James Harrington, Jeremy Bentham, developed. That look, you must go to renew your mandate. You must go for the people to say, we have voted for you. So without that, without having such an institution conducting a fair and credible, transparent election, then you are probably asking for a situation where people go either through the gun or by the force of their muzzle. So that's why it's a very critical institution. So the review was intended to ensure that we have an institution that is strengthened to be able to conduct elections that the people can look up to and say, oh yes, we voted for this man. We put him in office, and therefore he's accountable to us.
We saw the push and pull that eventually came out as even in the issue of electronic transmission and all that. But in another less than 2 years, we would go for general elections. Before then, there will be some off-cycle elections, one later in the year in Anambra, and of course, Osun and Ekiti also warming up in 2022. With where we are now, in terms of the mindset of the political elite, the players themselves, and the umpire, are we ready for the next set of elections?
Well, I'll say we are ready, but we still need to do a lot more work. Like I said, it's important for those that you have been elevated to govern or to lead, for them to have confidence, trust in you that truly we use the power of our thumb to elect Fisayo. But a situation where they begin to...
And I will not disappoint.
And then you will not disappoint. And a situation where they begin to think, oh, well, we did not vote for him. He rigged himself in. You discover that the trust and the power of your office quickly begins to erode. That's what we have to, really take care of. And it's very important because if these early thinkers, way back, 16-something, 17-something, talking about Jeremy Bentham, and, so if you talk about James Harrington, who wrote his, the Commonwealth of Oceania in 1556, talking about that you have to go and renew your mandate, that there should be terms of office, there should be checks and balances. And one of the ways of doing this is that if you were elected and you're not doing well, people have the power to say, let's do a recall. This we are taught about donkey years ago, even though, people like Montesquieu developed them and people are talking about them generally. So these things are very, very important. And they are really the roots, the institution, the taproot of a democratic process. For instance, if it's predicted, oh no, he has bought INEC, he is going to emerge, and eventually you emerge. Those who truly know that, oh look, this guy did not earn the position he's occupying, they will not have confidence in you. And the powers begin to think of other ways through which to remove you from office.
That's the issue of legitimacy now. But let's move on a little.
Yes.
In terms of the mindset, we've seen cross-carpeting. You yourself, you had to change, your position in terms of, yes. Does this will this in any way affect our mindset? Even the followers, when you see a lot of cross-carpeting and all that, in terms of our mindset going to the elections, is it about elections alone, or are we strengthening, our democratic practices generally?
Well, your question is a solid one, and I would like to make some clarifications. The issue of leadership is a resolve by the individual to use the power of office that we've been given to bring about the well-being of the immediate people who voted for you, and even so many others, hundreds of thousands or even millions. If you are not exercising leadership along that line, then you have something else that you have come to do. For me, it's not a question of moving from one party to the other. Maybe some people moved because of maybe was something they want to do. Everyone has a reason for moving. But one thing I would like to stress this afternoon is that the party administrators and a few stakeholders, they have a responsibility to make this system to endure, to grow. A situation where a party administrator looks at your face and says, Fisayo, I think you have had enough. Even when you are serving the people well, even when the people are happy with you, and he begins to either block you with a few stakeholders, you discover that those who have a lot to offer and those that the electorate truly crave to come and represent them, they would encourage the individual to look for an alternative platform to be able to serve them. That's one of the reasons why some people move. I'm not holding brief for others. I'm speaking for myself. Because a situation where you know that people have seen what you are doing, if you administrators, they gang up and they say, oh no, you have a duty to move to a platform that can offer you the opportunity to be able to serve your people, especially if it's been verified, even if it's been ascertained that you are there for the good of your people and not for your personal aggrandizement. And that is the key aspect of whether you are in leadership for the people or you are in leadership
and talking about
please
movement,
yourself.
we have to move on the show. We mentioned a defection from the PDP in the first part of the program. It has not been plain sailing for the Prince Uche Secondos-led National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party following the resignation of 7 national officers of the party this week.
7 deputy national officers made up of Diron Odeyemi, Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Ahmed Bello, Deputy National Legal Advisor, Umaru Hadizat, Deputy National Women Leader, Divine Amina Arong, Deputy National Auditor, Hassan Yakubu, Deputy National Organizing Secretary, and Irona Alfonsos, Deputy National Financial Secretary, resigned their positions, citing what they described as bad treatment exhibited by the PDP National Chairman, Prince Uche Secondos, since the election that brought the current leadership of the party to power in 2017. The National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Kola Olobodion, reacting to the development, says a committee is already revived to address the issues.
The conflict resolution mechanism of our party has already been activated. So let us wait for the outcome of these resolutions.
The media assistant to the national chairman, Prince Uche Secondos, Ike Abonyi, also reacts.
I want to correct something. Those who resign are not members of NWC. They are members of NEC, but not members of NWC. The structure of the party is intact, and Prince Secondos is national chairman. And anybody who resigns will be filled the next day.
The national youth leader of the PDP, Ude Ukoye, however, shares a contrary view.
Mr. Uche Secondos, the national chairman of the party, is incompetent of managing the affairs of this party. He lacks managerial capacity to manage PDP.
After that development, a meeting of the People's Democratic Party Board of Trustees and the National Working Committee was held in Abuja to resolve the internal crisis rocking the party. The meeting, which took place at the party's National Secretariat, oversaw the setting up of a special committee to tackle all areas of the dispute.
If Secondos does not resign, I am going to leave the party.
Where does Secondos not want to sacrifice for the party like all the previous chairmen that have done the same thing?
The calls for the resignation of the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Prince Uche Secondos, informed this meeting of the party's Board of Trustees and National Working Committee, which also had the presence of the Governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike. The resignation of 7 elected members of the National Executive Committee, citing lack of inclusion by the Prince Uche Secondos-led National Working Committee, is the major agenda of the meeting. Findings, according to the chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees, Senator Wali Jibril, show that no national chairman of the party since inception has completed their tenure of office. With 3 months to the end of the Prince Uche Secondos-led NWC, the BOT chairman and Uche Secondos are of the view that any crisis at this point in time, when plans for a peaceful national convention are already heightened, will be counterproductive.
Anyone that takes the party to court should be seriously disciplined. The issues must be tabled and discussed and come out with solutions.
We resolved in the meeting to set up a committee that will look at the situation.
We'll resolve the way forward.
Meanwhile, the Concerned Elders Forum of the PDP, with most of its members in the BOT, is urging all party organs, officers and members to remain calm, faithful and orderly as it proceeds with urgent consultations and initiatives to resolve the contending issues.
All right, we'll get the result, the report from that committee as we watch the space on developments there in the PDP. But moving on now, Honorable Sam Munibu is still with us. This week we heard from the Honorable Minister of Environment that President Muhammadu Buhari and Nigeria will assume the presidency of the heads of state and governments of the Pan-African Agency of the Green Wall later this year. You are the president, of the Global Legislators, Organization for Balanced Environment and Chairman Climate Parliament Nigeria. Do you think this will bring renewed impetus to this fight against climate change now that Nigeria will be chairing the Green Wall Initiative?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate Mr. President and then the Minister of Environment for getting this highly elevated position. It's going to help, a great deal because the fight that Africa as a whole is putting against climate change through the Great Green Wall is intended to address some of the challenges that are largely, the Sahelian challenges, all these countries, Burkina Faso, Mauritania, Niger, Chad, Nigeria, and all that. The degradation of the environment, the land that is available for farmers to use, the racing down of desertification and all that. So this Pan-African body on Great Green Wall is intended to address this thing. So of course it has a lot of advantages because even for Nigeria here alone, we are planning, on reaping from this. This has the potential to create well over 10 million jobs. And not only are we talking about planting, according to Mr. President in his last address at the UN, he talked about planting over 25 million trees. These are not just ordinary trees, just to create a carbon sink like the Amazonian, area in Brazil. But this is just to plant trees that also have economic benefit and to reclaim land, that have been degraded, so that farmers can go back to farm, increase food security, and of course reduce what is coming from the other side of security. When you talk about Boko Haram, all these other people that have been pushing down from these areas that I've mentioned. Some of them are pushing down not just because they enjoy it, but they are pushing down because they cannot find things with which to, earn their means of livelihood.
Very quickly,
this is a positive.
You have been pursuing a bill. It's been passed in the House of Representatives. Where is it now? What's the status of that bill?
Oh, the climate change bill has passed the House of Representatives and is now in the Senate. Unfortunately, the Senate has also it has gone through the first reading in the Senate. So we are hopeful that as soon as we resume from the recess, that it will be passed by the Senate and then transmitted from the National Assembly to Mr. President for his assent.
Let's go local to the people of Ikwano, Umaya, not and Umaya, sir, very briefly before we let you go. You promised us the Secretariat. Have we gotten that now? The Federal Secretariat that we're expecting, that you're trying to influence to get to your area. Very quickly.
Oh, yeah, the Federal Secretariat is ongoing, but I'm still wondering. I don't know why, it's still up to the state government to provide, the survey plan and the certificate of occupancy. A portion of land, 7 hectares, have been provided, but it's taking a pretty long time. I've even written a letter to the governor to ensure that this is this is fast-tracked, to ensure that we're able to get it into the budget for 2022. It's something we need. Abia will be 30 years this month, and we need a federal secretary badly.
All right, thank you very much. For the past hour, we've had Honorable Sam Munibu from Ikwano, Umaya North, Umaya South Federal Constituency, a buff of climate change, and of course also the chairman of Climate Change Parliament in Nigeria. That has been the size of political update for this week. We'll keep an eye on the windows of APC and PDP and other parties as they gear up for the 2023 elections and of course the off-cycle elections. My name is Fisa Ogunfi, thanking you for being a part of this and urging you to continue watching the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's finest and largest, where we give you the very best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Don't forget to play your politics for the greater good. Bye-bye now.